Testing. Testing. Testing.
Do I need to test?
We're good?
I'm not going to talk anyway, so I'm not testing. No.
It is 5:30. We will call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Tate,
Present.
Councilmember Stowe,
Present.
Vice Mayor Carrillo,
Present.
Mayor Flores.
Present. We'll now go into oral communications. This is the opportunity to address the city council on any matter scheduled for closed session. Unless additional time is authorized by the council, all commentary shall be limited to 3 minutes. None in the audience. Anything virtual?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll now move on to city council closed session.
Thank you, Your Honor. There are 9 items before the City Council this evening in closed session. The first pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6, Conference Labor Negotiator, Agency Negotiator John Lawson, Patrice Hildreth, Employee Organizations, Porterville Peace Officers Association, Public Safety Support Unit, Porterville City Employees Association, Porterville City Firefighters Association, Fire Officer Series, Management Confidential Series, and all unrepresented management employees. Item 2, Government Code Section 54956.95, Liability Claim, Claimant Cecilia Nunez, Agency claimed against, City of Porterville. Item 3, Government Code Section 54956.95, Liability Claim, Application for leave to present a late claim for damages, claimant Rhiannon Ralston, Agency claimed against, City of Porterville. Item 4, Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D, subsection 1, Council Legal Counsel, existing litigation, Duran v. City of Porterville, United States District Court, Eastern District, case number 1:CV-00614-DAD-SAB. Item 5, Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D, subsection 1, Council Legal Counsel, existing litigation, Southern California Edison Company v. California State Board of Equalization et al., Orange County Superior Court case numbers 30-2022-01258-109-CU-MC-CJC and 30-2022-01258-057-CU-MC-CJC 2022-648. Item 6, Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D, subsection 3, Council Legal Counsel, existing anticipated litigation, significant exposure litigation, 5 cases in which facts are not yet known to potential plaintiff. Item 7, Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D, subsection 4, Council Legal Counsel, anticipated litigation, initiation of litigation, 2 cases. Item 8, Government Code Section 54957, Public Employee Performance Evaluation, Title City Manager. Item 9, Government Code Section 54957, Public Employee Performance Evaluation, Title City Attorney. Staff's report.
Thank you. It is 5:32. We will go into closed session.
test.
It is 6:36. We will reconvene open session and report on reportable action items taken in closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. 2 items to report on. On item A2, claim by Cecilia Nunez. On a motion by Councilmember Stowe, seconded by Vice Mayor Carrillo, and a 4-0 vote, that claim was denied. And on item A3, claim of Rihanna and Rolston, on a motion by Councilmember Stowe, seconded by Mayor Flores, and a 4-0 vote, that request to file a late claim was rejected. Thank you.
Thank you. Let us all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Tate and remain standing for an invocation or a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there anyone that would like to do the invocation?
Dear Father in heaven, we're thankful for the opportunity that we have to come to this meeting this evening and discuss concerns about things that are happening in Porterville and about Porterville's future. We pray, Father, that you'll be here with us tonight and that you'll help the city council as they make decisions that concern the citizens of Porterville. We're thankful for all the blessings, Father, you give us every day. And we pray that you'll bless those that might be ill that aren't here tonight. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward and do an invocation? If not, you may be seated. We will now go on into the presentations.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have before you this evening the Chamber of Commerce providing its quarterly report consistent with its agreement that came to a conclusion in June 30 of last month.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Flores, Vice Mayor, and City Council members. My name is Christy Martin. I'm with the Porterville Chamber of Commerce. I do want to thank you for giving me these few moments tonight to be able to present a little bit more about what's going on with us over there and what we've been up to over the last month or so before we saw you last. So this will be kind of what's been going on from about April to what we've got going on today. So next slide, please. As always, I just want to give a recognition to my board members and just give a quick shout out and say thank you for each and every one of them that are there. Like I always say, I can't do this job without them. It takes more than one person to be able to bring these things to our community, to be able to serve our businesses. So I just want to recognize our board of directors for the chamber. Next slide, please. And then also our ambassadors as well. They're really our community relations arm of the chamber. So I just want to take a moment to recognize them as well. And next slide, please. And we got to welcome 2 new members over the last month. So we had ITC, who's rejoining us. They do communications and security systems, so we're really excited to have them back on board. And then also Porterville Area Coordinating Council. And they've rejoined with us, and they also got to be a part of our golf tournament. So it was really great to have them out there sharing more with us about what they're doing around the community as well. Next slide, please. And we got to have last month a ribbon cutting for Amanda Yan and her new food market that she just opened up in Strathmore. We had a really great turnout. She was very pleasantly surprised to see all of the support that showed up for her. So we were very excited for Amanda, very proud of her, and really excited for the turnout that the community showed her and the support that they showed her by coming out to that. So next slide, please. And then our Flag Day ceremony. So that was on June 14th, and I just want to give a big thank you to the Flag Day Committee. It took several organizations to put this on. There was a lot of different revolving parts that went into this. This was my first year getting to be a part of the committee and seeing how many different pieces came together to make this event possible. And it was really, really exciting to be able to see the giant flag being able to, be back on the flagpole again. And so I do want to thank Mayor Flores for being there as well. She did the proclamation for the event, and I think it was a really nice turnout. So next slide, please. And then right after that, we had our business after hours, and that was with Eagle Mountain Casino this year. And this was the last time that they're going to be hosting business after hours at their old location. So next year when they do it, it will be at the new location, and we're really excited to be able to see that unveiling. And again, I want to thank you, Mayor Flores, for coming out to the casino, showing your support. It was a really fun evening. They had great food, of course. We played some really fun games, and even one of our ambassadors got to win one of the major prizes. So she's very excited about that. So I really want to thank everybody that showed up for that to show their support for one of the major businesses in our area. Next slide, please. And then we had our annual golf tournament. We had a really busy week that week. And that was a great turnout as well. It was our very first one. We really were very, very pleased with how it went. We had a lot of support, a lot of people that came out, and so we really just want to say thank you to everybody that was there. And a big, big thank you to all of our different sponsors that came together that helped make that event possible. Next slide, please. And I'm really personally very excited about this. We actually launched just last Thursday our new website. So this has been in the works for quite a bit of time, and we finally got the project finished. We got it launched, and I'm just personally excited because this is more in my wheelhouse, and it's definitely a lot more user-friendly. We've included a blog on there now that's going to be having small business tips. Hopefully we'll be able to start featuring our members who can contribute with writing articles as well. It's increased opportunity for search engine optimization. Oftentimes when you Google a business, Chamber is one of the first people to pop up for that business if they're a Chamber member. We're almost always on the first page of search results. It's obviously much more aesthetically appealing. It increases our brand awareness. It's got a really nice flow throughout the page, so I'm really excited to be able to introduce this. A lot more resources available on there. So please, if you get an opportunity, go check it out. It's portervillechamber.org. And just go see what we have available on there. Our events calendar is kind of front and center. We've been working hard to keep that updated, so I'm excited about this. Next slide, please. Okay, and then just some of the front office inquiries that we are getting. This includes phone calls, emails, and walk-ins. Just information on new businesses. How do we start a business? How would we start a business in the city of Porterville? We get calls about volunteer and community service hours, the military banner program. We're getting calls for Freedom Fest, so we were able to provide them with the packets and refer them to the city for vendor signups for that. We get a lot of requests for a city map, so that's actually a project that we're going to be revisiting, taking on. Relocation packets, wedding services, that was a fun phone call, real estate services, senior assistance services, and then paper shredding. Next slide, please. And then some of the community things that we're still involved with are the Sequoia Tourism Council and promoting the Mighty 190, P8 Coalition, and then the Academy of Hospitality Subcommittee. We're part of the Porterville Pathways program, the Flag Day Committee. We've been working with various internships and work experience programs through Employment Connection, CSET, Pathways, the senior program. We currently have 3 interns in the office right now working on different various projects. Music on Main Street we did in the springtime, and then we are still doing monthly First Friday coffees that are open to all community members. Next slide, please. And then some of our ongoing projects, again, revisiting that city map because we do get a lot of requests for it. Membership directory, we've done pretty well. Our online directory has gotten cleaned up pretty well, but we want to look at doing something printable as well. People still like printable material. We have a tourism project. One of our interns is working on that, doing kind of a fun little side project of things that are available to do in our community and around our area. And the Sequoia Visitor Guide, we do that through Sequoia Tourism Council. workshops. We're going to be partnering with the Small Business Development Corporation. We actually just did a survey for our member and business needs. We got a lot of feedback. Our number one top requested kind of topic that was voted upon was marketing and social media. So we'll probably mix some of that in with things like QuickBooks, and they asked for management trainings. So we're going to work on getting all those different things scheduled so our businesses have that available. We're working on our increased social media presence. So we have a little over 5,000 Facebook followers now, 1,800 Instagram followers, and our newsletter slowly but steadily continues to grow. And then we actually have an intern who's going to be working on business spotlights. So that's something you'll be seeing from us very soon. He's going out to small businesses. He came from the MTA pathway. He just graduated. And so he's putting together videos just highlighting our small businesses and the owners and kind of telling their brand story. So I'm really excited to be able to start showing that to everybody. Next slide, please. And then some of the things that we have upcoming on Thursday, we're having a shred event. So this is available to everybody. Chamber members do get 2 free boxes, but if you do have documentation and you're maybe in a business or an office that doesn't have on-site shredding, please bring your boxes out. We'll be out there with the truck and ready to take those important papers off your hands. And we'll be in the Valley Strong parking lot. They have graciously partnered with us to be able to use their parking lot. Our Government Affairs Committee is always on the last Thursday of every month from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. It's a great time to connect with local representatives. It's video conferencing still, so just a Zoom call that you can join in and kind of get up to date on what's going on there. Our next ambassador luncheon, that is a little typo. It's actually going to be moved to August 10th, so the following Wednesday. And we usually meet in the conference room, but we're going to try this time actually going out to a member restaurant and kind of making our presence a little bit more known in the community. So I'm excited to kind of trial that and see how that goes. Our next First Friday coffee will be the first Friday of August, August 5th. Valley Adult Day Services is going to be hosting, and they're going to be sharing more about the different programs they have available there. So I'm very excited to learn more about what their organization does. And so we would really love to invite and see everybody out there who can join us, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. at Galaxy Theaters. And then we're also going to be trialing a membership orientation. That's one of the frequent feedback pieces that we get is that members don't necessarily know what their membership gets them. So we're going to be trialing that, kind of walking them through what do you get for your membership, how do you use all your benefits, what is Chamber here for you to do, and how can we help you, and how can we all connect. So that'll be coming up on August 11th, and that's members only. Next slide, please. And that's about it. That's what we've got coming up. And I just want to thank you again for the time. Thank you for the continued support. As I've been kind of learning my role over the last couple of months, there's been a number of people at the city who have been really invaluable in just answering questions, directing me in the right direction, sending me over there. And I just have to say I really appreciate it because, these different things can't happen without the collaboration of everybody. So thank you again for your support, and thank you for the time tonight.
Thank you very much. Did council members have any questions?
I have a comment. Thank you for the presentation. I think the thing that I really liked was the website for, providing updated outreach information that can go to our businesses, but also the public. I think that's really needed, so thank you for sharing that.
I want to thank you too for the presentation. Is one of the better ones we've had in a long time, and the website looks really good, very easily. So, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Any comment, Councilmember Tate? Okay, first of all, I want to say thank you. It's welcomed. I'm going to miss going up to Eagle Mountain Casino on the reservation. I can remember journeying to all their business after hours, even when they had them in the bingo hall, which no longer exists. So yes, always there to support and network and to meet people and to talk to them and to be able to do that networking. Of course, that was the last one there. It'll be closer, but thank you for everything. It is appreciated. Of course, website, technology is important, especially now in the world of communications, and you want them user-friendly, especially when people are looking for information and they're able to access almost immediately. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We will now go into oral communications. This is the opportunity to address the council on any matter of interest, whether on the agenda or not. Please address all items not scheduled for public hearing at this time. Unless additional time is authorized by the council, all commentary shall be limited to 3 minutes. If you are here for the public hearing, item number 25, please hold your comment until the item comes up on the agenda. You will be given the opportunity to speak at that time. Is there anyone that would like to come forth?
First of all, I usually stand up here and all I do is complain. But tonight I want to compliment the city and the city council and all the sponsors for the Freedom Fest. It was truly amazing. And there were so many people there. I mean, the traffic was a problem. You didn't know that many people were going to show up. There were thousands there. And there were no problems, thank you to the police department and whoever. You just felt really safe there. And my great-grandsons had a blast running around and watching the fireworks. And we all had a great time, so thank you for supporting that. It was spectacular, so I really enjoyed it. Monty Reyes has missed the last 5 council meetings, and I'm not in his district, but people keep asking, where is he? His name isn't mentioned in your roll call or any reason for his continued absence. The last time he attended a meeting was April 5th. I live in District 2, that's Milt Stowe's district. I love my district, my city council district man. Milt continues to show up for meetings and he has been going through chemo. This I understand. If he has to miss a meeting, I understand. It's health issues. And I talk to Milt often. Monty Reyes is failing to represent his district. Sometimes there are only 3 council members in attendance to vote on important issues. The mayor and the council needs to request Monty's resignation due to abandoning his position on the city council. Out of the last 10 meetings, Monty was absent 5. He did 2 virtually, and only 3 was he present here in person. And I don't feel that's acceptable for a city councilman. I really don't. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Radine. Is there someone else that would like to come forward?
Brock Neely, address on record. Fernando. This is just another piece of evidence as to why our current state senator needs to be reelected.
Thank you.
As well as you know, we received a $10 million grant for our new emergency response center. This is another $33 million that's going to go for zero-emission vehicles for the Cross Valley corridor to link us with the high-speed rail. And part of this money will also be going into the planning of the light rail going from Porterville to Huron. She continues to provide support and funding for this part of the valley that we have not received in the past for decades. She is an effective senator, and we need to keep her in office for a few more decades to get more projects done in this area. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there someone else that would like to come forward? Hey, please.
Good evening, Mayor Flores and council members. Brian Thoburn with Southern California Edison. I wanted to check in this evening just to once again express our appreciation for the continued partnership between the city, in Edison on a number of projects. These past months, we've been working with city staff on the development of a microgrid project, which is an energy storage system that will be on city-owned property and would be key during an emergency of keeping power on to essential city facilities. So that process continues, and we really appreciate the partnership that we have with city staff. We're also in the design process for expansion of our Porterville operations, and so it's another sign that this part of the valley, with Porterville as our operations hub, in serving our customers and ensuring that we're able to meet the ongoing job of providing safe and reliable service to our customers here in Porterville and in this portion of the valley. Also, I want to again salute the city's leadership in blazing the trail in our San Joaquin Valley cities that we serve in terms of transportation electrification. And we're very proud of the city's efforts and commitment in that regard, and we're happy to support your efforts in that regard as well. And then the regular business of upgrading our equipment and circuits and services here throughout the city continues year-round. And now that summer's here with the heat, it's more important than ever that we continue on that work. So with that, Mayor and Council, I just want to again express our appreciation and look forward to continuing to work with you.
Thank you very much. It's good to have you here in person.
Yes, it's nice to be back.
Thank you very much.
You guys look great. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward? Thank you.
My name's Ben Miller. I've just been here in Porterville for a little over a year now, and bought a house there on Westfield, and the excessive noise on the cars in that area is outrageous. You get them racing up and down the street in the middle of the night. It's a lot of blasts through that stop sign at Luann and Westfield, and we got kids there running around motorcycles that don't even have a driver's license, and we need speed bumps at the stop signs, slow people down, and for nighttime they need to have one of those solar lights that go around the stop sign and let people know the stop sign's there, because some people don't pay much close attention. We had a hit and run there a week or so ago. The guy in the corner parked near the corner and he got hit, and that's pretty bad. And the roads around here are terrible. I didn't realize when I first moved here. Riding a motorcycle around town is just really, really rough and hard to stay straight. And did you have anything for kids to do in the summertime or after school? Any programs? I haven't seen any. So, a lot of kids don't know how to go out and entertain themselves like we used to when we was kids. So I don't know what the deal is. A lot of parents don't like the kids out loose because they're afraid someone's going to steal them or do something or whatever the hell happens to them. So we need to, think more about the community instead of just big businesses too. And I'd also like to see a Costco placed here too, in this town. We got one in Hanford, which was really nice. When I was living up there, I could go anytime I want to. Here, closest one is Visalia, about 45 minutes away. So there's so many things I could cover. It's just a few things I've noticed in the year I've been here.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. He doesn't have to. Is there anyone else? Please.
My name is Diana O'Donnell, and I've lived in Porterville for about 14 months now. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I've been doing this for the past 30 years in a variety of different settings. I have some real severe concerns about mental health service delivery, especially in rural areas. I did attend a conference back in Georgia with Rosalind Carter, who indicated that the rural areas have a major discrepancy in terms of mental health services delivery, and I have seen that firsthand working at a clinic and seeing between 20 and 25 patients a day with severe, anything ranging from domestic violence that is addressed inadequately to an increase in suicide rates, to an increase of issues within the school systems and inadequacies in terms of addressing children's needs. This has been a difficult time for everybody with the lockdown and stuff. I've seen depression go up. I've seen anxiety go up. We do not have a 24-hour bed to adequately evaluate people going in there. We recently now refer people to Kauai Delta because they do have the continuum of care to be able to address the severity of suicide ideations. I've even had a kid who threatened to kill other students at a school, and we directly contacted the school and indicated, what are you doing about this? That child was sent home with the threat and then came back to school. Okay, something's wrong. I was back at the Sandy Hook after the shootings and was providing counseling to families there. The answer isn't simple. The mental health system is broken, but also there are a variety of supportive things that are also broken. I have only been in Porterville for a year, but I am strongly passionate about mental health services delivery, and we are really failing. And this area I've seen has a big need. I see kids with severe needs. I see parents with severe needs. And I hope I can become a more active participant in having a voice for people who are afraid to stand up and to say, you know, I'm hurting, I'm afraid to step out and ask for help. We're seeing some movement and some progress in that area, some people, and we want to break down the barriers. I'm seeing more education. I'd like to see more education, us going outreaching into the schools, talking to people openly, and being able for them to say, we are not afraid to come forward. So I just want to be a help in any way I can in what I'm doing now, but also hopefully to change the system so that it can become more effective. Putting money into it is one thing, but how we do it is another. And
I'll give you 30 seconds to summarize.
I hope I can become more of an active participant in the Porterville community, because I do believe in rural mental health services and that we need to do better. People need to use their voices and get the legislators to listen to us. We are a community, and our children and our families deserve better than what they're getting.
Thank you, Ms. O'Donnell. Your comments are appreciated.
Greg Meister, 1160 Jean Avenue. I wanted to talk about the annexation of the Lombardi area. Now that is completely our issue, with that street being a one-way in and one-way out, and I hope that it's something that is number one on our priority list to accomplish for the constituents of Porterville. Something else I wanted to talk about was number 19, joint funding and agreement with Porterville Unified School District and Burton School District for school resource officers. As you guys know, I'm going to be running for city council in District 2, and so I've been doing a lot of door knocking and talking to constituents, and something that comes up quite a bit is the fear for their children in schools. You know, we've seen a lot of shootings around the nation, the Uvalde shooting, and parents drop their kids off for 8 hours a day at school, and we completely rely on them for our children's safety. And so what I ask is, what more could we do to protect our children, our greatest treasure, right? Another thing, something I've seen the Tulare County Sheriff Office do with the children of Tulare County, They're putting football leagues together, baseball leagues, and I believe they even took a trip to Pismo, and they took the children, and it's something unifying their sheriff department with the children, and that's where we got to access them. So we don't have a rec center, we don't have a library. There's not a lot to do for our children in this community, and something I think would be a great thing is if we could get our police department to kind of follow that lead like the sheriff department's doing in our community. Start a football league, start a baseball league, where the city police officers volunteer to coach. I think it would be an amazing thing in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Meister. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward under oral communications? Do we have any virtually?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Okay. No more oral communications. We will now go into the AB 1234 reports. The first one is the Tcag concert, which I attended on the 21st of June. I got to speak and meet with Adam Doliak and Ryan Griffin with their respective bands. I presented both of them, including their bands, with a City of Porterville challenge coin. They both asked what it was. They wanted to know what that challenge coin was, and I told them that they both had to return to Porterville, provide us with another performance, or just to come and visit us and let us know that they were here. Each of them were excited. They were very grateful to be the recipients of the coins. And of course, I asked them to sign my poster while I had them there. There was good community attendance, but I also want to thank the officers that were present and covered the event because it was warm. It was warm on that day. The Tulare County Economic Development Corporation, that was on June 22nd. Mr. Lawless and I attended the meeting virtually. I shared at the last council meeting that the May meeting was a closed session and that meeting agenda items would be carried over to this meeting. The minutes of April 27 and May 31st, 2022 were approved. The financials through April 30th and May 31st, 2022 were detailed and approved. The project and client services updates were provided. The EDC is now currently managing 30 active project files. Information is current fiscal through June 16, 2022. Broken down, carryover from prior fiscal years were 20, new projects fiscal year to date 38, less closed inactive projects this year 8. There were 7 projects reported as most active. I will simply provide highlights. A solar panel recycling company seeking an existing 50,000 square foot building on 2 acres of land. A titanium recycling company seeking up to 100,000 square feet on 5 acres to lease with an option to purchase. A cold storage company seeking 25 to 50 acres to build 250,000 square foot facility within 20 miles of California 99 or the Interstate 5. A biochemical company seeking 40,000 square feet facility or 5 acres. Another biochemical company is seeking 5 to 25,000 square feet or 5 acres within proximity or adjacent to a wastewater plant. A recycle manufacturer company seeking to lease an existing 40,000 square foot building to convert old tires to crumb rubber as raw material. Each of these projects would create jobs. Tulare County Economic Development submitted sites to each and are awaiting submission review. An update was on a cold storage company seeking 15 to 25 acres of greenfield land with utility access to build and own 150,000 square feet cold storage facility. Tulare County Economic Development has moved into the second phase of the site selection process and is awaiting a response of the company of interest. Staff provided an update on the real estate forecast and the end of the year metrics report. Moving forward at this meeting, Chairman Harness reported that he had sent an email to committee members, city managers had met, and Mr. Mark Mandel, city manager, had summarized a discussion that was held at the managers' meeting. I simply stated that I hadn't received the email and that they could proceed to discuss it, but wanted them to know I had not seen it. During this conversation, the email and its contents were forwarded to me by one of the committee members. It was also announced that there were 2 vacancies for the administrative committee, one for the public sector and one for the private sector. Committee members were asked at this meeting if anyone was interested. No one had responded. The next meeting is scheduled for July 27, 2022. But what I do want to state, shortly after this meeting, at least a couple of days, I had received an electronic correspondence to inquire if I still had an interest to be on the administrative committee. I responded for purpose of clarification. I explained in my response that I had been reached out to see if I had an interest after one of the committee meetings by the chair. I said that I would check into that. I researched the responsibilities of this committee and I never responded, and that's where I had left it. I also stated that I did not respond to the original email as I had hoped other city officials might be interested. I stated that I would be spreading myself too thin, that I serve on other committees beyond my responsibilities on city council. I provided them with the names of the committees I serve. I serve on 11, inclusive of the other duties that may arise. I said that it was important for me to be effective and to be in attendance on each of the committees that I serve on. Those meetings would be held on the second Monday of each calendar month, and that I would have difficulty attending those meetings as I'm already scheduled for other commitments. That concludes that report. The next one is Tulare County Regional Transit Authority. Mr. Stowe, Councilmember Stowe.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tulare County Transit Agency held its monthly meeting on July 18th, last night at 6 p.m. There are 3 scheduled items on the agenda. First, it was TCRTA Board approves the fiscal year of 2022 and 23 SB1 State Good Repair Project List. Total project funding allocated TCRTA is $548,606, and funding will assist the agency in purchasing approximately 9 minivans to support the regional on-demand service. The second item was the board approved the transfer of titles for 3 vehicles from the city of Woodlake. These vehicles are currently residing in the city of Porterville's corporation yard and will be incorporated into the TCRATA fleet, and the board has approved the transfer of unused transit funding from the city of Woodlake in the amount of $246,503. The unused transit funding will be placed in the transit center's reserves. And item number 3, the board advanced Transit Measure R funds to assist the agency with cash flow. The board also authorized staff to pursue short-term financing with Tcag and the county to further assist the agency with cash flow for major capital projects planned during the fiscal year. TCRTA will be developing a spending plan that will be presented to the board at a future meeting. During the director's report, Mr. Tree reported that the board of the Transit Center recently awarded 2 competitive grants. The first grant was awarded by the Federal Transit Agency Area of Good Persistence Property Program in the amount of $315,000 to further develop a mobility management and travel training programs. The second grant was awarded by the California State Transportation Agency Transit and Intercity Rail Program in the amount of $33.7 million to expand transit services along the Cross Valley Corridor. This project includes funding to construct a transit center in the city of Lindsay and the city of Hanford, and also funding to purchase 14 zero-emission transit buses and 16 zero-emission transit shuttle vans. The board directed staff to draft a release to inform public of recent grant awards, and the board also directed staff to draft a short presentation on all the transit achievements of the celebration, the agency's 2-year anniversary coming up in August. And finally, Mr. Tree reported that the board in 2022 service changes will be also effect starting August 1st, and the fare collection will resume on September 1st. The next scheduled meeting will take place on Monday, August 15th at 6 p.m.
Thank you very much for that report. Give me a short break in between. The next one is the San Joaquin Valley Regional Action Planning, the REAP Committee, held on June 24th. I was in attendance via Zoom. When the meeting began, we did not have a full quorum, and legal counsel directed us to proceed with the meeting as informational, to hold off discussion on any items of action until members present for the quorum. Though it began as informational, we backtracked to the items. The motion to adopt the resolution for continuation of teleconference meetings for the period of June 24th through July 23rd was unanimously approved. The minutes of January 22, 2022 were approved. There were amendments to the bylaws, the requirement for a quorum from 2/3 of the members to a simple majority. Also, the in-person requirement for a meeting attendance stipend was eliminated. These changes and/or minor text changes and updates were incorporated. A discussion prompted immediately that some of the committee members that were listed have never been in attendance. The committee makeup are representatives chosen from respective COGs, that there should be an outreach made to the respective counties noting for the replacements. No further discussions. The amendment to the bylaws were unanimously approved, 16 ayes and 1 nay. Received an update on REAP activities. Housing technical assistance to Valley jurisdictions is now available. 5 cities have requested technical assistance. To date, it is Arvin, McFarland, Atwater, Kingsburg, Bakersfield. Jurisdictions can request technical assistance via website portal, svjcogs.org, with technical assistance. Additional valley-wide efforts include SJV ADU template development, SJV guide to recent California housing laws and policies affecting local land use planning, housing capacity and urban footprint scenario development, pending analysis for sigma impacts on housing production, pending San Joaquin Valley focused policy analysis for increasing condo production, pending inclusionary housing analysis for options and impacts to increasing housing production. On the comprehensive housing report, it is completed, and a web landing page for online resources from the housing report, such as jurisdictional data and sets, has been established. Highlights on the REAP workshop series. The webinars will continue throughout the coming fiscal year. Update on the State Department of Housing and Community Development. That was just brief updates that were provided. Comprehensive housing report for the San Joaquin Valley. We were provided with a slide presentation of housing production trends, impediments, and best practice. This presentation had been sent to us in our board packets. Highlights were just project management and oversight. Final comprehensive housing report was completed and available on March 2022. It is approximately 400 pages, but we were given a summary. All of this can be found on the website, svcogs.org housing report. Valley-wide accessory dwelling unit program was provided by a representative of Precision Engineering. It was a slideshow presentation. Highlights were ADU ordinance template, ADU plans and elevations, with an emphasis of the toolkit that is available on the website. That concludes the report. Our next meeting will be January 2023. We will continue until 7:30 on the reports. The next ones will be carried over because we have a lot of business to tend to, because of the majority of them will be mostly, we need to carry those over, but 9 through 16 will be carried over after scheduled matters. We'll continue with 6 with the officer badge pinning ceremony. I know that Councilmember Stowe and Councilmember Tate were there. If you'd like to start. One of you?
I will. Once again, the ceremony was outstanding, and we have a couple of new officers, and their families were there in attendance, and we appreciate them very much, and we thank them and welcome them to our city, and hopefully they'll stay safe and be part of our City of Porterville family for a long time. And we appreciate them very much, and all our officers.
Councilmember Tate?
I felt privileged to be there and to witness and see the excitement of the families as our officers were being pinned and officially sworn into their new duties. We had a good turnout. There was a lot of people here, and some of the kids, the younger kids, I thought really is what made the ceremony the best because of their excitement and their joy. So it was really nice to see that, and I think this is the third one I've been to, and so really appreciate our law enforcement and happy to see new people come in.
Thank you. It is always exciting to attend the swearing in of an officer or officers, and I want to say congratulations to the newest officer. His name is Jaime Pompa Salas. Got that one right. It is always it's pleasant to welcome and congratulate officers to our city, to watch them have their badges pinned, to learn their history, where they're coming from, and their dedication to public safety and service. His daughter definitely wanted us to know who she was, and that was her dad that was getting pinned. So that was very warm felt. Yes, it's good. I was so excited that I was carrying meetings over that I just skipped over Tcag. I'm going to do that one. The meeting was an in-person. It was held on June 27th, and a virtual one. On the transportation consent calendar, there were 2 action items to reaffirm the conditions of State Assembly Bill 361 to continue, remote attendance at public meetings, and the adoption of resolution to approve the Transportation Development Act claim for the County of Tulare for the fiscal year 2021-2022. Both items were unanimously approved. Item of information was the Senate Bill 1 Competitive Programs Update. Under the transportation action discussion items, there was 1 action item, which was the adoption of resolution to approve the 2021-2022 unmet needs. The remainder of the items under this section were presented as informational updates only. Caltrans, there was nothing to report for this area. On the association consent calendar, there were 5 items of action. The approval of the May 16, 2022 Tcag board meeting minutes and the minutes of May 11th for the Technical Advisory Committee meeting. The cancellation of the July 2022 Technical Advisory Committee and the Tulare County Association of Government board meetings. Adoption of the following resolutions. The approval of amendment number 1 to the fiscal year 2022-2023 overall work plan, and the adoption of resolution, the approval of the partnership agreement with Porterville Unified School District, the City of Porterville, the Tulare County Regional Transit Agency, and the Tulare County Association of Governments to facilitate in developing the Transformative Communities Program, creating opportunities, changing lives in Porterville. Under the association action discussion items, this portion of the meeting began with information regarding the draft 2022 Regional Transportation Plan Sustainable Community Strategy, the draft of the 2023 Federal Transportation Improvement Program, the draft Air Quality Conformity Analysis, and draft Environmental Impact Report. This item that was presented as information was then opened up for public comment, and there were no public comments received for this item. It will be continued. 4 items of action were the adoption of resolutions, adopting the final 2022 congestion management process document, the consultant selection for Tulare County Regional Transit Agency branding and communications plan, the adoption of regional housing needs allocation methodology and release draft regional housing needs plan, and the multi-jurisdictional housing element funding. This concludes that report. The next meeting is scheduled for August the 15th, 2022 at the Woodlake Community Center. The temporary library grand opening. We'll go on to that item. And I know that Councilmember Stowe, Councilmember Tate, and I were present. Councilmember Tate, would you like to comment?
It was a privilege to be there. There were several people from the community as well as library staff that were there. Where they opened up the doors for everybody to come in and to see the library, and basically do a little networking as far as future plans for the things that they want to do as far as we have a new commissioner that is going to be coming in, and so there'll be some planning. They're also looking at the Friends of the Library having a designated place so that they can basically do fundraising and book sales and those sort of things. So got to talk to a few people about that.
Thank you. Councilmember Stowe?
Sure. It was very nice. The grand opening was pleasant. It was great to see all the kids that are there with their books ready to check out and start reading again for the summer. And it's larger than I anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
It's much larger than I anticipated because it's just a storefront that's, but they have remodeled it very well and looks nice inside and very inviting, and the staff is excited about it as well. And I think it's going to be a good temporary fit for us until we get our new library, and hopefully that's going to be really soon. You know, I'm excited about that one. Thank you.
Thank you. This community had been without a library since February 18, 2020. Though we were there to celebrate, it was important that we recognized the historic nature of the tragic fire. I was physically there on that day and felt helpless to watch and to see and to support the staff and to watch the firemen and the police officers working. That is the most tragic fire in our city's history. The moment of silence in memory of our fallen heroes, Captain Raymond Figueroa and firefighter Patrick Jones. That fire affected many people in this community, but it brought us all together as one. So yes, I do get emotional because I saw and watched, and there were those of us that felt helpless. To be there to support the staff, to ask, what can we do to help? And to know that you couldn't. And then the next couple of days, we were at the site to support the staff. So this was a celebration. The Interim Library ribbon cutting was a celebration for several of us in the community. It was an honor to be a part of the long-awaited celebration. There were no words and are no words to express the happiness of those of us who were in attendance. Mr. Moore, I want to thank you and your staff, and to Vicki Cervantes and her staff for the hard work to prepare this, because it's been a long time coming. And thank you for all the work involved to be a participant to this opening. You are to be commended, and so are the departments. Yes, I got emotional because I will never forget, because there were several staff that are here and that are on virtually that were all affected by this. That concludes my report. Let's go on to the Freedom Fest. You're the one that attended. Mr. Stowe. And then we'll go on and carry all the other things.
Well, like Ms. Strom said, it was a lot of people, and it took a long time to get there. But it was, you could see it was needed in our community because of the number of people. It took us a couple of hours to get inside. And we only stayed 30 minutes because I know 2 hours to get there and 30 minutes to stay, but my wife's back, she just had surgery and it's starting to hurt her, so we had to come home. But it looked like it was a grand festival. I mean, there was a lot more than I've seen. I don't know how many. We had, what, 6, 7, 8,000, maybe more? Higher, 10,000? Oh, yeah. I know it was a lot of people. There was a lot of cars, and it took a while to get inside. But, with COVID, happening and had to shut it down for a couple of years, you can tell that the community was ready for it. And I'm sure the fireworks were grand, and that's what I wanted to see, and I missed them. But, I look forward to next year. So.
Thank you for that. All right, 9 through 16 will be placed after scheduled matters. We will now go into the reports. This is the time for all committee, commission, board reports, subcommittee reports, and staff informational items. The city commission committee meetings. Parks and Leisure is on a summer hiatus. Library and Literacy is on summer hiatus. Is there anyone here for the Arts Commission? Please.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Let's see. I'll begin my report now.
Thank you.
Hello and good evening. My name is Emily Luna and I am the Vice Chair for the Porterville Arts Commission. The Arts Commission had a virtual meeting on June 28th, 2022. The Commission voted to go to quarterly meetings, so our next regularly scheduled meeting will be on August 23rd, 2022 for the next quarter, and then assume the regular quarterly schedule of meetings, which will then start on October 25th, 2022. We also discussed participating in the upcoming Fall Festival being held by the Chamber of Commerce, and will make a recommendation once that the date has been established for the event. We also currently have a youth position available, and that concludes my report. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you, Emily. It is appreciated. Animal Control Commission, no report. Youth Commission is a summer hiatus. Talk, no report for Talk. Okay, thank you very much. Staff informational report.
Thank you, Honor. Just the customary monthly report on water conservation for the month of June, which showed a very productive 23% conservation compared to June of 2013. Cumulatively, we're still trending very close to the 26% goal at just above 25%. There were 37 notices of violations issued and 4 administrative citations. Happy to provide any further information.
Thank you. Does council have any? No questions? No questions? Okay, thank you. It is informational. Thank you, Mr. Lawless. Consent calendar. All consent calendar items are considered routine and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these matters unless a request is made, in which event the item will be removed from the consent calendar. All items removed from the consent calendar for further discussion will be heard at the end of scheduled matters. How does council wish to proceed? I will note that on item number 16, I do have a conflict, and it's, I want to say, there was a map, and it's 456C. Mine would be 456C.
Councilmember Tate, on that same item, has a different area that she has a conflict in. So upon the approval, it would be indicated which
Okay.
which of those areas you would be abstaining in the vote on.
I'm good.
Yes. Yeah, just Mayor Flores and Councilmember Tate are,
Yeah, mine is on
have specific
456.
areas contained within on that item that they live within those boundaries.
Okay.
Are there?
In that case,
That's on number 16. 16, okay. So we'll appropriately note the districts that you would be
Thank you.
abstaining from. And then staff would like to remove from approval this evening, item number 21. And then just for the record, I have not participated in item number 14, as well as number 19.
Okay. Item number 21 is being removed. Item number 16, noted conflicts for Councilmember Tate and myself, and noted with the areas. And Mr. Lawless is stating for the record, he has not participated in item number 14 and 19.
They're not literal conflicts, they're more
No,
perceived
but just-
conflicts.
just
And
for
so
the record.
AB 1234 tells you, even if you don't, if there is a perception of that, that you don't participate.
Okay. So, council, a recommendation for motion for items 1 through 20, 22 through 24, because item 21 has been removed.
And I make the motion that we accept those items.
With the noted
With the noted
conflicts.
conflicts and the removal of item 21.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilmember Stowe,
Second.
a second by Vice Mayor. Call for the vote. Passes unanimous 4-0. Thank you very much for that. Okay, we will now go into the public hearing. Item number 25. Please.
Thank you, Your Honor. There's one public hearing that's been scheduled for this evening, and that is to consider the Landscape and Lighting District Annual Assessments, and Mr. Moore will provide that staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace, Honorable Mayor, and members of the council. The city has created 74 landscape and lighting maintenance districts. Since 1989, the original district has 17 areas annexed for new developments. Since 1996, new districts have been formed for each new development, representing districts 2 through 56. Annually, a process of evaluating maintenance needs and establishing an assessment for each LLMD must be followed. At its meeting on June 20th, 2022, the City Council preliminarily approved the annual engineer's report, which indicates the proposed assessments for the 2022-23 fiscal year. The assessments, once approved by the council, are placed upon the tax bill of property owners as a special assessment and collected by the County of Tulare by August 10th, 2022, in order to be placed upon the tax rolls. The engineer's report provides the financial detail on each district. District fund balances are reviewed on an annual basis to determine funding needs for maintenance, as well as determining assessment requirements. Based on this analysis, staff was able to determine that not all districts will be assessed this fiscal year. Staff's recommendations that the City Council conduct a public hearing on the 2022-23 assessments for the landscape and lighting maintenance districts to take comments or receive protests on the proposed assessments, and adopt the draft resolution ordering the continued maintenance of landscape and lighting maintenance districts and confirming the engineer's report and assessments for the 2022-23 fiscal year. That concludes staff report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Council, no questions? We'll just go on to the public hearing. Okay. It is 7:38. We will open up the public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to comment on this item? No comments. Do we have any virtual?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. It is 7:38, and we will close the public hearing and bring it back to council. Council, how do you wish to proceed?
Your Honor, I have no questions or comments, but I'd like to make a motion that we accept I'm sorry.
The staff recommendation?
Staff recommendation for, I'm trying to think, LMDs, thank you. Like I hadn't been involved in them all my life, and I can't remember them.
Okay.
Landscape maintenance districts.
We have a motion made by Councilmember Stowe,
I'll second that.
and we have a second by Councilmember Tate. No further discussion? Call for the vote. Passes 4-0. Thank you very much. Now move on to the scheduled matters.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 5 scheduled matters before the council this evening. The first is the consideration of appointments to the Arts Commission. As the council is aware, the Arts Commission is comprised of 5 members in addition to a youth member. Those 5 members serve staggered 3-year terms, and the youth member serves a single-year term. Currently, there are 2 commissioners, Emily Luna, who provided your report this evening, and Carrie Perkins, whose terms expire this month. Both have indicated their interest in continuing to serve on the commission and have requested reappointment to the commission. So the recommendation is that the council consider the reappointment of Emily Luna and Kyrie Perkins to the Arts Commission with terms to expire in July 2025. Happy to answer the questions, provide further information.
Thank you, Mr. Lawless, for your report. Council?
I'll make a motion to reappoint Emily Luna and Kyrie Perkins to the Arts Commission with terms to expire in July 2025.
We have a motion by the Vice Mayor.
And I will second just for discussion. And
Councilmember Stowe, second. Now open for discussion.
I just want to, are they in the audience or online?
Emily
If
gave
they-
us a report
If they
today.
want to,
Emily was the one.
okay.
Emily was the one that gave us a report.
I thought she might still be there. You might want to. Okay.
No further discussion?
Move.
Okay, call for the vote.
Want to give them the opportunity to. No, that's all right. No. That's fine.
Thank you. Passes unanimous for 0. We'll now move on to number 27.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next scheduled matter is the consideration of appointments to the Transaction and Use Tax Oversight Committee, also known as TUTOC. 5 of the 10 committee members of the TUTOC committee have terms that have expired, and their names have been provided. Of those 5, one of them has indicated they're not to have any continued interest in serving on TUTOC, which was Mr. Russell Buck Fletcher, and appreciate his service and former chairmanship of that committee. The remaining 4 have submitted applications and requested reappointment to the committee, which includes John Bilyeu, who's the current chair, Sean Byers, John Simonich, who serves as, I believe it's vice chair, and Jerry Hall, who serves as secretary. And each have indicated their interest in continuing to serve on the TUTOC committee with terms expiring in May of 2026. There is currently, in addition to the vacancy created by Mr. Fletcher for an appointment on the committee that would be consistent with May of 26. There's a current vacancy that actually has, just for clarification, an expiration of term of May of 24. It is not, there's 10 members of the committee, 5, and they're in a staggered fashion. So there's 5 every 2 years that whose terms come up. So the vacancy that is there, that it has been existing, has a May of 24 expiration to it. Staff is in receipt of 2 requests for appointment, one submitted by Robert K. Fall Sr. and Radine Strawn, and those copies of requests have been provided for the council's consideration. As council is aware, TUTOC is charged with reviewing the revenue and expenditures of Measure H and Measure I and reporting those findings to the City Council. Comprised of 10 members. Currently, TUTOC, by its binding ordinance, is to meet at least once a year, although it has been practicing to do so on a quarterly basis. To be eligible for appointment, individuals must either be a Porterville resident, business owner, or business operator. So for City Council this evening is to consider the reappointment of John Bilyeu, Sean Byers, John Simonich, and Jerry Hall to serve 4-year terms expiring May 26, and consider appointing Robert K. Fall Sr. and Radine Strawn to the Transaction Use Tax Committee. One term would be to expire in May of 24, and one would be to expire in May of 26.
Thank you very much for the report, Council.
All right, I know Mrs. Strong is here. Is Mr. Falls here? Would you care to promote yourself or say anything?
I never miss a chance to say something. There was another lady on the committee that recommended that I apply for the position. I have a strong background in bookkeeping. That's basically what I did all my life, in real estate, bookkeeping, administrative assistant. I've done all those jobs. And I was interested in this position because it deals with how money is dispersed and used in the city, and that interested me. So I have a real good accounting background, so that would help me qualify for the position also, and work as a member of the committee. So I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Council?
Okay. With that, I'd like to make a motion that we consider reappointing Mr. Bilyeu, Mr. Byers, Mr. Simone, and Mr. Hall for term expiring May 2026, and appoint Mr. Falls and Ms. Strong. And I would recommend that we make Ms. Strong's term expiring in May 2026 and Mr. Falls to 2024, if that's okay.
We have a motion,
I'll second.
and we have a second. No further discussion. Call for the vote. Passes unanimous 4-0. Thank you. We'll now move on to item number 28.
Thank you, Your Honor. Item number 28 is consideration of annual appropriation limit. And I know that Ms. Bemis always appreciates the opportunity to speak about how much below the state's, as some of you may know this as the GAN limit, how much less than what the state says is your maximum allocation to which you are appropriating to. So would you like to speak to that, Ms. Bemis?
She'll say no.
No? She'd say no.
I'm waiting for the response.
I can. All right, well, like Mr. Lottie said, every Article 13B of the California Constitution requires that each government agency adopt an appropriation limit each fiscal year, which is the maximum amount of tax revenues that can be appropriated during a fiscal year. It's based on a calculation using the percentage change in population of the city and also the percentage change in per capita personal income. So for this current fiscal year, 22-23, we estimated the proceeds of taxes at $39.5 million. And based on the calculation, the appropriation limit is $89 million. So we're way below the maximum limit allowed by the law. So if you would please approve the resolution adopting the appropriation limit for the 22-23 fiscal year. And happy to answer any question.
Maria, thank you for that report.
You're welcome.
Council?
I don't have any questions or comments except for, I guess I'll do it again. I'd like to make a recommendation that we approve the resolution adopting the appropriate limit of $89,187 for the 2022-23 fiscal year. And Maria, job well done as usual. We're gonna miss you.
Hey.
I'm still here.
John says you can't go.
We don't
so-
talk, we don't.
That's
We don't
not
talk
a
about that.
discussion.
We don't talk about Maria retiring.
We have a
That
motion.
means I can retire.
No, Maria does, I just
You know,
told
on
Julia.
this note, I'm going to second that. No, this discussion, for any
That's
more
over, huh?
discussion?
Sorry, Maria, you have to stay.
Call for the vote then.
If I can, just as a, before you vote, just as this has been looked at in the past, at least comparatively here in Tulare County, which as a percentage of that GAN limit, Porterville is, obviously well beneath half. And some cities actually are appropriating very close to that. So I guess it just speaks to the fiscal nature and affordability that is provided in Porterville.
All right. And the vote is? Did we vote? Passes 4-0. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the next item, the 29.
Thank you, Honor. Item number 29 is designation of voting delegates and alternates for the League of California Cities 2022 Annual Conference. I know this is always a favorite item of the council's. As part of the business meeting that's held as part of the annual conference, which is upcoming in Long Beach in September 7th through the 9th. There is the business meeting where there's the adoption of the resolutions by the league as part of its legislative platform. And so each member city is requested to designate a voting delegate as well as up to 2 alternates to serve as the city's vote at that conference. The business meeting happens on Fridays, on the Friday of the conference during lunch. There's a business luncheon, so at least you get a meal served along with the vote on Get Out of Town Friday.
I would really love it if the vice mayor would be the voting delegate.
I was thinking the same
I would really
thing.
love it if she would be the voting delegate, as I was on the committee and sat for 3 hours at a time while the policies and being proactive on that side of the venue. I would really love it if she's be the voting delegate.
Yeah, great minds think alike, because I was thinking the same thing. I make a motion that we approval with her.
She's smiling. That's a sign.
That's a good
Yeah.
sign?
Yes,
Okay.
accept that.
We nominate the vice mayor as our.
And of course, I second that because I would really love it that she be the voting delegate. All right, no further discussion?
Well, there's room for 2 alternates.
Oh, I apologize. Notice
Oh.
how I was just wanting to go right by that? You notice how I was just trying to go by that one?
There always been alternates?
Yes, and then a
Up to 2.
third.
Oh, okay, then I would love Ms. Tate to be an alternate, if she's willing to accept. Okay.
I'll take that third position.
Very
Like I
good.
said, I was on that committee that got it here.
Then I make the motion of that,
Okay.
that was what was stated.
Then I second the motion. Let's call for the vote. It passes 4-0, so it's Vice Mayor, it's Councilmember Tate, and I take that third position. I may not have lunch. Remember, you get lunch out of it.
It's going to be a rubber chicken, so you may not want to.
Everything is chicken. Oh, all right, now we'll go on to number 30.
Thank you, Your Honor. Final scheduled matter for this evening is consideration of sponsorship of the and actually want to, I believe that the vice mayor probably
Conflict.
has a conflict on this one, before I get too far in it.
Don't go too far. Don't go too far.
Consideration of the sponsorship of the 2022 Thule River Tribe Powwow, which is scheduled for Friday, September 9th through Sunday, September 11th. So after you go to the League of California Cities Conference, you can go to the powwow that will be held here in Porterville. Thule River Tribe has requested that the city consider sponsorship of its upcoming annual Thule River Tribe Powwow on Friday, September 9th through September 11th. They've identified sponsorship levels for the event as platinum at $5,000 or more, gold at $2,500, silver at $1,000, and bronze at $500. The city and the tribe have a rich history of co-sponsoring each other's important community events, including the Freedom Fest, although I do want to note, it's probably been, Freedom Fest is an example of an event that's now kind of self-sustaining. Certainly there's city services that are provided in public safety as an example and things of that nature. And appreciate all the organization, in-kind organization that Mr. Moore provides for that as well. But essentially, revenues help offset the cost of the fireworks and some of the other associated costs, portable restrooms and the like. So the last several years, initially that event, as an example, had been $15,000 on both sides, and I think at one year the tribe was 10 and the city was 15. So. And then even before that, I remember before I was at the city, I was part of when the powwows were held at the fairgrounds, the first fairgrounds, original fairgrounds, I would say. It was there was a community planning group which I had been a part of, representing Burton School District at that time. So there's I guess for the council's consideration would be to consider sponsorship at whatever financial level it feels comfortable. Funds are available in the community promotions budget for this sponsorship. Happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lawless. And I'll bring it to council. I can remember attending the powwows when they were here at the fairgrounds, and there was a lot of community involvement and a lot of participation. And how does council wish to proceed? I don't have a problem with a sponsorship. I'm just not sure which level.
Yeah, well, I can probably give a little bit of history. Mr. Lawless
Please.
talked about the powwow when it first started. He was the original powwow committee I was on because I was in recreation at that time and dealing with it. And I know that the city was heavily involved in it, and I think we were a $10,000 sponsor, if I can remember correctly. And I thought that was, and I called a former city manager, and that popped in his head as well. That we were $10,000 sponsors for this event, and it did bring a lot of people into our community, a lot of people. And the costumes and the dances were fantastic, and it was just, culturally enriched. And so, I wouldn't mind sponsoring it for $5,000, if they're getting started again, and be part of the sponsorship. As it says, we work very closely with the tribe in different events, and so I wouldn't mind, we have the money in our funds for this type of event, and for $5,000, I think that's very reasonable.
And thank you for the history, the back history of the sponsorship level at the time, because it was a larger event and it did bring a lot of people to the community. So I don't have a problem with the $5,000 sponsorship either. Councilmember Tate? Okay, so Councilmember Stowe, would you like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make that motion that we sponsor, it'd be a platinum sponsor for $5,000.
And I will second. Let's call for the vote, please. Passes unanimous 3-0. Thank you very much. We need to get the vice mayor back in here. Now we will go back to the AB 1234 reports and the local initiatives, the Link Committee. Councilmember Tate?
I attended this committee meeting on July 6th, 2022, and just an overview of what Link is that it is a outreach of people within the community who join together and link to try to help and resolve the issues that we have for people who live without shelter. We try to brainstorm to find out, and there's many, many needs, and we assess those needs. At this meeting, though, we decided to break down into a subcommittee, and we're going to meet together, and we're going to talk about ways that we can gain more resources and get more volunteers. It's summertime. We could use all kinds of donations as far as water at the Welcome Center, grooming supplies, anything. We have several churches that we have recruited, and they are coming together with their groups and making up packages for grooming supplies. There's needs for, with COVID, it's really sort of limited us. We used to accept clothing that was lightly worn to be able to donate, and that had to stop, and so we had to raise money to be able to go out and talk to different areas to get new clothing for them. But we need help with getting washing machines so that we can wash clothes for our individuals. They need showers, a place to be able to take showers. There's limited bed space, and all of this has to do with COVID, the reason that it's so limited. And so we meet once a month, and then we're going to start meeting more often because we're going to develop a subcommittee so that it's more of a working committee instead of just an overview. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. The next one is the Eastern Thule Groundwater Sustainability Agency. Mr. Knight, would you like to report, or would you like to carry this one over?
I'll do my best, Mayor.
Thank
Just
you.
be patient with me in case I break out into a cough here.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity to present on this meeting. The meeting was originally scheduled for July 7th, and it was canceled and rescheduled for the 18th. So we conducted the meeting on July 18th at 2 o'clock via Zoom. The contents of the meeting consent calendar was passed in one motion, and that consisted of the June 2nd meeting minutes, and then the public hearing minutes from June 30th, where we presented a 218 land-based assessment for the Eastern Thule GSA. Also on those consent items were the continued teleconferencing and the authorization of payment of bills. Through the administrative process, we did accept and approve some contract agreements and scope of plan services through the groundwater hydrologist, Thomas Harder. We also approved a resolution 2022-03 certifying the results of the Prop 218, the land-based assessment, in which it failed. The no's took it at 80, I want to say it's about 83%. In addition was the noted comment changes that are going to be submitted to DWR on the Eastern Thule GSP, the Ground Sustainability Plan. The agency has submitted its original draft plan. DWR provided comments or deficiencies that it wanted the Eastern Thule GSA to address. Through that process, we have provided amendments to the GSP, and those are required to be submitted to DWR by Friday. And so at that meeting, we approved those changes, and the substance of those changes was inserting some mitigation efforts for impacts, negative impacts for lowering groundwater, specifically in details around residential private wells. There was no updates to stakeholder meetings. The next meeting is scheduled for August 4th. And that's that's my report for the Eastern Thule GSA. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Thank you for your report. I didn't have any questions.
I have one.
Please, go ahead.
I just have one question, not regarding that, but how are you feeling?
Doing better today.
Thank
It's
you.
this COVID stuff is no joke.
Thank you.
Stay strong.
Same question applies for the next one. Did you want to report or carry that one over?
I'll go ahead and provide a brief comment on that.
Thank you.
We did meet the Thule River Joint Powers Agency, Tri-JPA, met on July 11th, discussing the status of the reservoir enlargement. The process is still underway. The initial phase was the first 12 months was the rerouting of the roadway up and around what will be the future spillway. That has been completed. There was a process in which trying to award the contract for the project to move forward That has been successful, and the next phase of the project has been awarded, and they are preparing to mobilize and start to construct the spillway itself. A number of hurdles to get through, but the Army Corps and all the parties have been working very hard and very diligent in getting this project moving forward, and it looks like that is successful and that is underway. So if you're up in the area of the reservoir, you will see activity starting to take place in the area of the spillway. The property negotiations are about 50% complete. They're still working to negotiate purchases of the new elevations. So once we go through the process and raise the elevations of the reservoir, there's additional land that's having to be purchased as a result of that. And then you have wind and splash zones as a result of the elevation change. And so those property negotiations are still underway and making good progress on that. After the spillway, just to give a little bit more information, after the spillway is constructed, you're still looking at about an additional 12 months of construction that will be taking place on the backside of the area there, that backside day use area. That will be improvements to campgrounds, restrooms, parking structures, and all of that. But the project is underway and making very good progress. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from council?
For me.
No questions. You take care of yourself.
Thank you very much. You guys have a good evening.
Thank you very much for your report. Next one is the Thule River ATP with Tcag. Representatives from Tcag. We met on July the 12th. The city of Porterville, Thule River Tribe, and Four Creeks. The purpose of this meeting was to provide an update on this project. Tcag had provided future traffic volumes for the Thule River Reservation and the New Eagle Mountain Casino. Back in April, I reported out that several of us had gone to the reservation, met with the Thule River Tribal Council, and then we did a walking audit. Chairman Neil Perrone and Tribal Council member William Garfield took us to several locations. From that walking audit, this meeting, we were sent preliminary conceptual designs and sections. We reviewed the project. I am grateful that Tribal Council member William Garfield is the lead person on this project. He did a wonderful job in speaking to the tribe's interest. There are questions with regard to the bike pedestrian plans for the New Eagle Mountain Casino. Mention as the 100-year flood levels for the Thule River to refine the engineering design for the pedestrian bridges. This would help determine what state federal permitting requirements for the two pedestrian bridges. Discussion and highlight was the example of basket weave designs. With regard to the ATP grant application, they will prepare conceptual designs, cost estimates, and other engineering deliverables for the village corridor and the pedestrian bridges. They will assist in the narrative portion of the ATP grant application. I want to thank both Tcag and the City of Porterville staff for their countless hours to this project and that their work does not go unnoticed. From this meeting that we had, we've been invited to the Relocation Committee meeting to present at that committee meeting on August 11th to the Relocation Committee and other members. That concludes that report. The Tulare County Water Commission, it pleases me to announce that that meeting was canceled, so there's nothing to report on that. The Internal Audit Committee, we met on July the 13th. In attendance virtually were members Mr. John Lawless, Ms. Julia Liu, Mr. Rob Taylor, Vice Mayor Carrillo, Maria Bemis, and I were in person. Scheduled matters were the approval of minutes of March the 3rd, 2022, April 27, 2022, unanimously approved by the members in attendance. Proposed Chamber of Commerce Memorandum of Understanding. In attendance representing the Chamber were Mr. Dennis Ickes and Mr. Josh Pearson. It was brought, the MOU was brought to this meeting for purpose of clarification and direction. It was confirmed that the Porterville Chamber has terminated the agreement with the city of Porterville. It is understood that they did not seek monetary assistance from the city. Clarifications is their wish to continue a working collaboration. It was moved and recommended unanimously by the committee to bring this item to the full council for consideration of the memorandum of understanding in the first meeting in August, and I will refrain from making further comment until it is brought to the dais for the full council discussion and consideration. The next item is the review of the Barn Theater Agreement, the license agreement between the City of Porterville and Barn Theater for use of real property located at 42 South Plano. In attendance representing the Barn Theater was legal counsel Mr. Alan Bailey and Katie Smith. The committee reviewed, discussed, listened to the intent of use for the Barn Theater beyond the agreement, and there should be more clarity. Barn Theater's fundraising, its lifeblood for plays and events, the visual and the performing arts, the concerts, the comedy nights, musical performances, a brief discussion of private events such as community club, Christmas parties, weddings, dinners, luncheons, a broader permission structure. A review of the agreement history will be made by staff with regard to the building and land. No decision made. It was agreed that the Barn Theater will send what their intentions are. The city will research agreement history. This item will be brought back to the next Internal Audit Committee meeting for further discussions and clarifications to that regard. For the next Internal Audit Committee meeting, we will bring back the Barn Theater agreement. The next agreement to review and to be just considered to look at is the Comisión Honorífica Mexicana Americana and then the FTA audit. The next meeting is scheduled for August the 24th. This one will be at 3 p.m. That concludes my report. Is there anything else that I may have left off, Vice Mayor? Thank you very much. Okay, the next one is the Porterville Area Development Authority. Councilmember Stowe?
Oh, yes, I guess I wasn't anticipating this, but that's right, I did attend that meeting. Mr. Law is probably going to have to help me.
I can assist.
But the main item on the agenda was regarding approval for the affording partial payment for construction. Approval had been postponed in the past couple of months, and it was due to incompleted or delayed documents for payment, and we did approve the payment for this past meeting, and I think it was $3 million.
3.9.
3.9 million for the construction company for the work they have done, and what else was on the agenda? If I could.
Yeah, so there were just updates. It was construction
Okay.
updates on the wastewater tertiary treatment facility, as well as on the storm drain. The bid package is being drafted right now to go out to bid for the development of the storm drain basin. And then there was an update provided on the ATP plan, which coincided with looking at, most of those efforts at this point have been focusing on improvements of the reservation, which is now going to pivot to looking at improvements in and around the airport area, is what we say. So between the sports complex, fairgrounds, casino site, and all of the entryways from Westwood as well as Teapot Dome.
I'll apologize, I forgot
Nope.
we had the meeting.
No,
Sorry.
no.
But you were there.
Yeah, but
That's
I was
what's
there.
good, but you were there.
Slept
Thank
several
you
nights.
for that. It is appreciated. The next item, the Tcag board meeting of July the 18th was canceled. And since we're talking about cancellation of meetings, the one for the Council of Cities, which was scheduled for July the 20th, that one is canceled. But I do want to highlight, as we received the cancellation notice, you heard me report at a meeting in the past how we placed forth Vice Mayor Carrillo to be on the committee as a transit representative to the Tcag board. It pleases me to announce that all cities voted, and Vice Mayor Carrillo had the 4 votes from Exeter, Porterville, Woodlake, and Dinuba. And Mr. Saros, who had the 3 votes from Farmersville, Tulare, and Lindsay, will be the alternate. And Visalia had 1. one vote for their council member. So that information will go to our next Tcag board meeting, and it will be affirmed as to that. I also want to make note, I received a cancellation notice for the Sustainable Corridor Committee meeting of July 21st. That one is also canceled. So there'll be 2 less reports on that, okay? All right, that concludes all the AB 1234 reports. We'll now go into oral communications. Is there anyone that would like to come forth on oral communications?
Brock Neely, address on record. Due to the number of monkeypox cases in the greater Los Angeles basin, I strongly recommend you go to the public health and get the vaccine. They're the only ones that have it in Tulare County right now is Tulare County Public Health. I inquired at the VA, they don't have it yet. The supply is very short on it, but because of your stature as city officials and traveling on official business, you should be able to get it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to come up for oral communications?
Vice Mayor Carrillo, I wanted to thank you for, I know you're a mother, you're a businesswoman, and I believe you're on the most committees on the board here. And I want to, is that correct, or? Look at me.
Mayor's probably the
It's me.
I'm watching you.
I'm coming to you now. You know what? I wanted to thank you for your service, and you too. Listening to you guys talk about our fallen heroes, right, here with the library, and I could see your hearts bleeding out. And as you're talking about, Councilmember Stowe is sitting next to you praying. And thank you both for your service. It's I can't imagine going through it, right? And so it was a huge loss for our community, and did bring our community together. Something I wanted to talk about, the COVID cases are on the rise, and we see the Bay Area start implementing the mask mandates, and LA County starting to bring back the mask mandates, and even San Diego School District bringing back the mask mandates. And I think our community was really scarred from these failed policies, and I hope that you guys have learned from this. I do not want to see my city employees masked again. I do not want to see my police officers masked. I do not want to see my firefighters masked. I believe our rights are God-given, and we should have the ability to make our own medical decisions. With that, thank you all.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to come up for oral communications? Do we have any on virtually?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. We will now go into other matters, but before I delegate, I want to make an announcement that we received formal resignation from Councilmember Monty Reyes, that he has resigned his council member seat effective today, July the 19th at 5:30. And with that, now I will, we probably need to, no, I'm looking at legal counsel with that. And
So under the charter, you have, the council has 30 days to make an appointment, and if they don't make that appointment within 30 days, then that job goes to the mayor. So given the short time frame, you may want to consider potentially scheduling a special meeting, just at least to discuss the procedures that you guys want to undertake, because that's completely and entirely up to the council, how they want to go about the process for appointment. So might be in order to do that, and that way you give yourself a little bit more time then to make the decision.
Thank you very much.
And also, it gives you more time to actually get the word out that there's a vacancy for that appointment.
I think we should schedule the meeting as soon as possible. I'm looking at Monday at 5:30.
Works for me, I can do it.
The 25th at 5:30.
I'm okay Monday, anytime afternoon, so, and if it's,
It'd be 5:30.
Okay.
That's why I said Monday at 5:30 for the special council meeting.
I'm good with that myself.
Works for me.
Okay, then we'll just go ahead and we'll continue with other matters, and I'm gonna hold for more comment. I just wanted to state that publicly and get the information out because it is important. Councilmember Tate, did you have anything other matters?
Yeah, I'd like to mention that I had the privilege of attending the Filipino Heritage Club luncheon on Saturday. And it was like a reunion. I saw many people there that I've known for years. Some of them I didn't recognize because we're much older now, but I've known a lot of the people that are part of this organization since I was a kid. They were friends and neighbors, and the food was wonderful. So that was something that I got to do just this last week, and I kind of had to take really plan my way out of my neighborhood, and I'm not complaining. I'm extremely happy about all of the road construction and intersection with new lights and cameras, anything to improve our infrastructure. And then I found many other roads that have just been recently resurfaced and painted. So kudos to all of our city workers. It's hot. They're out there working, and I don't mind. I got a chance to sort of toodle around the city today, trying to make it to the meetings through that. Let's see. I don't really have anything else at this point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Stowe.
Thank you. Councilmember Tate stole part of my thunder, but I want to thank Mike Knight and his crew and his field services for, reconstructing some of the roads. And, we can't at this time probably do them properly, but they are doing a great job, and they're, at least they're nice and smooth. You have to, right now they're on Morton, and you can see that part of it is I try to avoid Morton, one section, and doing a section at a time. But the section that they've done, feels really good, looks really good, and I appreciate it. And, Measure H is I. Thank you. Well, H is working too.
That would be a problem.
H is working too, police officers, but I is working properly.
That gets a fight.
Yeah. And I also wanted to mention that in my neighborhood, we had a sad mishap. Unfortunate, a young man and my neighbor was murdered in front of his business. But I want to thank the police department for their diligence. They caught the suspect, and just a day after, a couple of days, but it was just hard to drive by his house. Thank you.
Understand. Vice Mayor?
So sorry to hear that, but also that you experienced that with somebody that you know. I have quite a few here, but I'll try to keep them short. I don't want to keep everybody here late, but there's a lot to acknowledge, and I thank the community for bringing up the different topics, and I also feel like those are important to hear and try to find solutions. So anytime you have suggestions, we appreciate it. One of the first things I want to mention is that I'll start with the Thule River Tribe had a pretty historic visit the past week. We actually welcomed Brian Newland, who is the Assistant Secretary for Indian Affairs for Department of the Interior. He and some staff came, and we had several agencies from U.S. Forest Service to state and tribal government officials. There was approximately 45 visitors that went up into the reservation boundaries where the U.S. Forest Service is. So they saw the burn sites from the Windy Fire and the Pier Fire. They also looked at the water sources, and we talked about two major things. One is the water settlement that the tribe's working on and just water issues in general. The other was about working with Forest Service and other agencies on managing the forests in our local area. So just talking about different ideas and also issues that we all kind of deal with. So that was a pretty significant visit. Just good to have that in our area. You know, just in the state of California, these things are going on, but to have that here in our local area and have discussion around that, I thought was pretty important. So I was glad to just be there and hear the discussion going on. Another thing that I participated in was that I attended on July 7th, the Exchange Club installation dinner, and I was able to swear in the new officers, my first time doing that. So it was good to be a part of that and just be able to network and really get to talk to people that do community service. One of the clubs that do community service in the city. And I wanted to thank Felipe Martinez for the invite to that. Another thing I wanted to bring up was the temporary library open house. Unfortunately, that one was really important to me, but unfortunately I had to miss it for family reasons. That was one I did not want to miss, but I did message the staff and specifically the librarian and also Donnie that have put so much work and effort into planning and preparing the site for the temporary library for our children and our families. And it's so great to hear that it opened and there was so much participation. And I've been seeing photos on social media about activities going on. And it makes me feel good because I think it's part of the healing from the trauma that happened when we lost our library, but also coming out of this pandemic and just all the isolation. You know, and all the people that were taking advantage of the virtual library services and just hung in there with that and now have a physical library. I'm really looking forward to the progress to open a permanent city library and continuing any work that's asked of me on the Library Facility Planning Committee, along with my peers on that. Another thing I wanted to mention was that the city was awarded $367,500 from the Land and Water Conservation Fund, and that is for the 4th Street Community Park Project. There's a lot of things that are going to happen with this park project, including a community center and a park near the Rails to Trails off Henderson. Should be completed around 2024. Just a few items so that the community can be reminded of things we're going to have there are a splash pad, mini pitch, pump track, ADA accessible playground, etc. I'd also like to congratulate the city on receiving a $7.8 million grant for 4th Street Community Park Project also. And in addition, some of the items are going to be outdoor exercise stations, picnic shelters, all shaded, and then public wall art. Just with that, I just want to acknowledge the staff for even seeking those grant funds, because it is in addition to the work that's already being done. There are various recreation activities for youth and families, but we understand that it's a huge need. And I think that we're all working together trying to do the best for our community. And one of the things that is very helpful is on our website that was just recently updated, you know, in the last couple years. And all this information is on there. And all the information about different grants and projects and things like that. And as we were talking about the roads earlier, that's very important to our Public Works Department and our city. And if you look in the budget, you can see all the priority projects for each year and then all the road projects. And I know roads are always an issue. There's certain ones I travel on that are frustrating, but then I travel on other ones, such as Henderson, where a major project was just completed, and I love it. So, just to be aware that there's a lot of projects going on. They're all outlined. Everything's very transparent. So, and I think it just makes everyone feel hopeful to see those kinds of things going on. With that, I know that we've had a lot of committees and meetings and starting to be out in the public. There's a lot of public events. It's really hot. And the mayor and the other council members sitting here have been the ones attending, and I just want to acknowledge you all for doing that and being a good role model for public service. And I will end there.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to say how important it is for a lot of us, especially with the overall quality of life and the public safety. I'm going to ask Chief Costello and Cogburn if they can come on screen very quickly, because I want to thank you. Every day within the last 3 weeks, even more so, I have pulled over for the sirens, I have pulled over for police officers, for ambulances, and there has been a lot of activity. And you've both been very instrumental with your departments to ensure the safety. And some of it is very hurtful and very painful. And always a given that a lot of us pray for the departments, that includes everyone, that when you leave, you return safely to your homes. And I want to thank you for your countless and selfless hours. We're a little emotional tonight because the city has been pained by so much. And it's the departments that bring it to the table. They are protecting all of us. Now I'm going to shift to Mr. Knight. Your department, your crews, I go out almost every day and it is hot. I have seen your crews at the manholes with the sewer projects. I have seen the other crews with the road repairs and the reconstruction projects, and know that they're working again for the quality of life and the safety of our community to provide the services. It doesn't go unnoticed. And you need to know that, and you need to hear it from us, because regardless of what may be said that we're not doing enough, well, guess what? You're doing more than enough. All the departments are. And know that it is recognized, it is appreciated, because I don't even understand sometimes when I'm out there in the extreme heat, I'm watching your crews with their hats on, and they're effortlessly doing what they have to do. And I have seen and have witnessed a lot of the manholes as they're working and doing their jobs and the projects. And that goes with the facilities of the trash and those services as well. It's hard, but you know what? You're doing it. And want to thank you. And it goes without ado, because the other departments, especially those like Mr. Moore, I want to look at you and I want to tell you how that came to fruition, but it took a couple of years to get it to where we are. But again, when I think of what happened on that day, I do get emotional when we had the fire, because we were all joined, and again, it was horrific to see the flames and to know what had happened. So again, thank you for everything, because this was agencies, collaborations that came together, and we celebrated with the opening of the interim library. Vice Mayor, I want to thank you for your compliments with regard to our committee participations for those of us on the dais. A lot of the committee reports that I provide, it's because I am that member representative for other cities as well, and they have chosen and elected and appointed me to those positions. So as I report out under the AB 1234 reports here, I also have to report them out to the committees, which are countywide, that I serve on. And then the Housing Committee is a larger group, which is a statewide committee. And the Policy Committee that I just served on, that was statewide. So as the committees are formed and the alliances are there, when you start working with projects, they start aligning with the county and they start aligning with funding opportunities for the county, the cities, and we have to be a participant so that we can ask for some of those funds. And grateful to the staff that applies for all the grants. And I'm looking at you, Mr. Reidenauer, and your department, because there are several that have come through. And I know there are several that have come in through the police department as well, and through the fire departments. So that's a lot to say, but I want to thank that person that does the grant writing, who has been very instrumental in submitting those applications. And I may have said a little too much, but it pleases me to make those acknowledgments. And Mr. Lawless.
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words, and many times the council took them as notes I wanted to state, and appreciate all the work. It all goes in the background. Having the grand opening of the temporary library, I can just tell you the number of hours that Patrice Hildreth, Donnie Moore, and Vicky Cervantes put in, and because of the accuracy you have to have in working through insurance. I mean, there's nothing cavalier about any of this. And so the attention to detail, Maria Bemis in the backside as well, just really, I mean, it's the part that the sausage making, so to speak, once you get to finished product. But just want to appreciate Donnie, Patrice, Maria, and Vicky for all the work that they did in making that. And then Freedom Fest, Donnie, again, just, really the primary organizer of that, but appreciate all of the support that across the departments, from Public Works to, I mean, it really takes a team effort to be able to put on an event like that. And I know that traffic was an issue. This is one of those things, sometimes when you contract with somebody, that they don't always do it as well as you do. And that's all I'll say about that. So we learned something from that, that maybe we don't contract, we take some more responsibility for some stuff, but we also had a higher turnout than we had well over 10,000 that were there for that. Also would like to, for the detail that happened along the July 4th holiday, I don't know, I know that our citations were at least 20. If you read around, that was as many as the city of Fresno had, just for comparison. Fresno came out and said we had 20 citations. So did the city of Porterville. So there was, just appreciate all the efforts that PD and fire had in that. The drones were up, and so appreciate the coordination that PD and the fire department had on that, and then certainly the streets. Mr. Knight asked really the attention to detail, and I stopped and kind of watched, and if you watch what of the crew on the paver, bringing that paver against the curb face, driving a, I don't know how many ton machine. It's like a refuse driver trying to go down one of our alleys here. Just that being able to maneuver and to operate that with such care and attention to detail, really appreciate in the heat. And I told Mike I'll be out there with a shovel here soon to help him out with that. Upcoming, I just want to give them some recognition. Donnie had his birthday on Monday. So,
wow.
And is bring the attention to this. Patrice is actually, she's not with us this evening, not feeling well, but her birthday's coming up on Saturday. Terry's next week. She'll be on vacation and
That's why she took the
hoping to be
week
able
off.
to enjoy some time. And Jake Costello's not too far off either.
Ah, we see him smiling.
So with that, I just want to say thanks, thank you to the council for all that you do. I mean, this is indicative of all the different efforts that are going on at one time and more events to come. And other I believe other successful grants that
Yeah.
we know of at least two sizable grants that are out there that we're in final consideration for.
Well, thank you very much for that. It is 8:39 and we will go back into closed session.
No reports expected.
It is 8:39. We're going back into closed session.